So Zoltar, what's the rundown on these two people getting to this point in the tournament?
Well, DT's a scary monster. And Rhahi, I believe, was actually the one with the really interesting... There was the majority buyout, because I've watched all the games, even if I didn't commentate all the games, right? I've tried to watch at least as many of them as I possibly could. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first game of our 1v1 Winter Cup Finals. This is going to be a best of 5 featuring Rhahi and Deathtacticus. We've got PB here also providing commentary. But to answer your question, to answer your question, I don't know, DT's been DT the whole way through, right? He's a scary monster no matter what kind of game mode we've been talking about. And Rhahi, while considered a very, very strong player, I'm sure, by the community, maybe not exactly the player we would have expected to see in the finals. But after watching her game, she's been playing really smart games Offworld, knows when to push for the majority buy, knows how to make the right investments at the right time. So in a lot of ways, maybe we shouldn't be surprised to see her here. I've just been staring at this aluminum
Tiles?
this whole time, and I haven't really looked around the rest of the map. So what else is going on? I think that the map
really
size...
far away from the combo tiles.
I want to point out the map size was set to medium because I didn't really notice that, but neither did anybody else while we were sitting there for 20 minutes. So...
Are we going to restart?
No. I mean, no, but as long as nobody complains about it, it's all good. I want to see what they do with these combo tiles. Now, both of them clearly have a second location in mind because neither of them had found it until that exact moment. So Rhahi really wanted that scavenger spot. All right, no nukes. High, medium tiles for the carbon and right next to some of the water.
The speed at which they bought up aluminum was breathtaking.
Well, yeah. Everybody knows to do that these days, right? It's one of those things you just got to get done. You got to get that aluminum purchased super fast if you can pull it off. Now let's see, hanging on to a little iron there. So what did we end up with? DT went for the odd combination of going for slightly weaker iron production than was necessary. So we'll see what he does with that.
But he got a lot of starting resources and hit that upgrade super fast.
Oh, he did. He did. Split steel as well, always a useful thing to do if you're going to be going for more than 2 steel mills. Usually you want to split them up if you can pull it off, so no big surprise seeing DT do that. We haven't seen a whole lot of that this tournament, so nice
I
to see
also
it
like
coming
the
back.
expansive because, even though, when you think combo tiles, you think robotic, but, just the shipping costs of robotic versus the shipping costs of expansive are so great these days, at least.
Oh, they definitely can be. I mean... Those faster ships are certainly useful for a variety of things and lowering those shipping costs. Definitely going to be one of them. Let's see, where is our silicon here? Because that was the big thing about the expansive found that I did not like, considering we were on the medium map.
Pretty far away.
Yeah.
He can get in the way of Rhahi, or he's going even farther away than that. And,
yeah, and that's not really going to be pleasant long term. Now, it's not warehouses at the colony, so silicon... While it'll be important for the upgrades, it might not be absolutely critical to maintain a decent economy, and DT still going to hit 3 before Rhahi pulls it off. Oh, man. Just slowing down a little bit. Building those farms in particular, that's a pretty hefty investment. Can take a while to pay itself back with that glass cost attached.
Yeah, it's not quite getting as high as perhaps Rhahi would like here. And again, the colony putting pressure on electronics means you can't really abuse that too much when electronics are already high.
Yeah, certainly. Not an easy thing to take advantage of. That said, Rhahi is going to be set up. She's got the aluminum, silicon, and carbon that she would want to potentially produce electronics later on. We can see they're going to be an extremely profitable building if she pulls it off. DT EMP'd on the reactors.
And just as they're finishing up too, and they counter EMP on the farms.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I wonder if that was really worth it for Rhahi, because if she had not done that, she would have managed to push to the upgrade already, and I think there's definitely something to be said for just going ahead and getting to that upgrade fairly quickly. She should have it in just a little bit here, potentially sell down silicon.
Yeah, the reactors when they're finishing up weren't making a lot of money. It's just, well, then the water got sold down and it was a fake price. But
yeah, certainly. Well, she went for the freeze regardless, and we'll see how it pans out for her.
Right, the auction.
Yeah, auction. So that's clearly in Rhahi's favor, although both these players will be interested in power at the moment. Also, geotherms potentially more interesting than they normally would be, given that there are adrenaline boosts on the market. And yeah, 32,000 for that for DT.
DT can either cancel his other geotherm that's currently building for the claim if he wants it, or he can have just 2 DOs. Let's see what he does here.
I'd imagine we're gonna see the 2 geos. I doubt he'll be interested in. Yeah, okay, we're gonna see the 2 geos. Now, of course, 1 geo has something to be said for it. With the adrenaline boost on the market, you can pick up a goon squad. You can try and fight over that. DT already in $68,000 of debt and gaining more debt pretty rapidly with his current power costs. He is going to have to pick up a goon squad, or Rhahi will be able to get aggressive against these, either with an EMP or a mutiny.
Rhahi doesn't have the money for an EMP, though.
She'll get there. She'll get there.
2, 3, sells everything as it, but otherwise, there's the mutiny bot by Deathtacticus defensively, and Rhahi buys a goon instead for her own power, I assume. Yes. So.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Things are relatively peaceful. They're pretty calm at the moment. Not a whole lot going on just yet. I am a little bit concerned about Rhahi having had to sell down so much glass, as it's going to make it even easier for DT to upgrade. And DT also has that very strong electrolysis production online. He's not shipping enough to counteract that just yet, and so it should be a pretty good moneymaker for him. And I imagine at this rate, we'll see him probably hit 4 first, but that cheap scavenger upgrade always manages to find its way through. So level 4 for Rhahi, that's good for her. That's where you want to be as a scavenger. DT hogging the water, even Rhahi is negative on it, so.
Yeah, no big concern about that right now with water being at 26. Obviously, she can always scrap out of some of this food and move into water, as we're seeing her do now. If she really wanted to.
Concerned when you put 3 claims on it.
Yeah,
like
that's
5 total.
Well, yeah, a couple of those are wind turbines, which is particularly interesting to me. So, choosing to go for the ability to scrap the wind turbines into water, I find that a little odd, because it feels like we could have gone for wind turbines just kind of close to the base and work with that. They'd be much stronger wind turbines, but I suppose we're going to see how it goes. Adrenaline boost also hitting the geothermal plant. So an EMP lands on the carbon. Interesting choice. Obviously, that's going to be annoying. Oh, circuit overload.
Well, DT saw the carbon price spike due to 1, the shortage, and 2, Rhahi buying it up. Maybe he didn't quite notice the carbon price was high. Maybe he didn't quite notice the spike. But it was artificial.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out for him.
Had bought into oxygen to do this, and then sold out of his oxygen during the short.
That's a weird one to figure out, how to evaluate the value of that circuit overload. It's going to land on the geothermal plant for 2 minutes. Probably pretty decent for Rhahi. The downside, of course, to picking up the circuit overload is it kicks you further away from making power money. That seemed like something that Rhahi was interested in. She was committing a lot of resources to try and get that power production up. But the upside is obviously put DT a little bit further into debt. If you go ahead and knock that power price down while he's in a significant amount, maybe he'll just stay there and you'll be set for smooth sailing the rest of the game. But with his fuel, oxygen, and food costs covered, I don't see DT having that problem this game.
Yeah, and he's even hogging the fuel just to make that just a little bit more difficult for Rhahi.
Yeah, Rhahi is doing quite a bit of shipping and claiming that water a little bit away from her base rather than just sticking to the stuff right next to her. It's understandable. She doesn't have a large number of tiles next to her, but it does mean it's just a little bit of extra shipping long term. DT finally sells out of some of that fuel once he gets the EMP.
He was forced to. Yeah, the EMP forces the fuel cell because otherwise you're just wasting that money to debt.
It's all just burning away. Pleasure Dome also coming down with the Goon Squad. We've got our little diner coming up for DT.
Yeah, very cute.
Man, we should be seeing HQ5 pretty fast here. We've had a bit of a sluggish route there. Rhahi could probably... Oh yeah, DT's going to hit there just about now. Metal Mine Mutiny. That's an interesting one. It's pretty late in the game for a Metal Mine Mutiny, and Rhahi, of course, has plenty of carbon. Still decent value on that thing, though.
I think the goal was to try to get the aluminum to spike when Rhahi upgraded, but he had enough, so it was fine. Yeah, just a little bit late on that front, unfortunately. DT's let Steel get up to 105, but he's still doing okay on that production, and Electronics finally comes down this game. Yeah, I was wondering when that was going to happen.
I'm still annoyed that this low was taken instead of this medium low, but whatever. Let's see. Man, an interesting EMP once again to me. So this is going to be, I suppose, reasonably effective at knocking out... I mean, it knocks out the life support production, and that's great, but it feels like a failure to commit to the EMP earlier from hitting this carbon. You can keep hitting the carbon again and again and again, make it difficult for Rhahi to get into the electronics for some time, make it difficult for her to make the rotations, and instead he just gave up on it.
Yeah, that carbon's up to $96, and that's basically accurate.
Yeah, nobody's managing to manipulate that price very much right now. It's very strange to me to switch directions in that fashion.
Well, this is my favorite type of auction.
Oh yeah, this is the best auction. Optimization center? People go crazy for these.
Buying up the chemicals immediately, just in case either he gets it or doesn't.
It also helps out with his patent lab that he's working on right now. So if he buys up to those 80 chems right now, he could get teleportation, or sorry, excuse me, the 80 chems, that lets him get multiple different patents if he would like them. So it's just a nice amount to have stockpiled overall.
Yeah. Getting one of every special building, it seems, for DT.
All the advanced buildings, just all of them. And I mean, you know, it feels like that kind of game. DT has a significant advantage, and he has all kinds of different routes he can go. As an expansive player, of course, he has the extra claims to get this kind of thing done. And so, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. Just one of all the things.
Killing the iron production just a little bit more, but he has plenty of... Let's see. Yeah, it's starting to look a little scary for Rhahi right now.
Yeah, things are not looking pleasant. Rhahi was just never able to really get any kind of significant advantage this game. I think part of that was the failed power play that didn't make up any money at all. And honestly, it was just maybe felt a little bit misguided with the idea of going into 2 wind turbines and adrenaline boosting the geotherm at the same time. It just didn't feel really necessary as it turned out. And I feel like that sort of thing slowed her down maybe a bit too much to keep up with DT. She's still in this game, but things are looking pretty grim, and DT's going for the kill.
Yeah, the EMP lands on everything except the hacker array, which he should be able to leverage for that kill, indeed.
Yeah, he's not buying into the hack right now, so he's just he's got his money set aside. He's looking at, I imagine he'll be buying into it fairly soon. He can't wait forever on it, because Rhahi will see the hack coming.
Indeed.
Oh, there we go. Pleasure Dome making 450 with that virtual reality. And the adrenaline boost. Yeah, it turns out Pleasure Domes are pretty good. Who'd have guessed? Alright.
Yeah. That's basically an Offworld, isn't it? Right now.
Yeah, it is basically an Offworld right now, with the adrenaline boost on top of it. And I'm quite concerned for Rhahi. That said, she only needs about 10,000 more.
The boost on the electronics pretty close.
Yep, that electronics boost, super strong.
Defense. Oh, that's cruel.
That's interesting.
Well, if Rhahi sells out, she has a defense, so it's fine, right?
Yeah. She should be fine. DT's nowhere close to taking her down.
What?
You bid on teleportation there. For the record, you bid on teleportation there. You just bid on it, and then you've got it, and then it's good. Like, no matter which of these players you are, teleportation is a good thing to have. It's going to save you fuel costs, so you can make more money from fuel if that starts spiking again, and it's going to give you access to those primary resources just a little bit sooner. It's well worth $7,000 of debt.
They're both burning about 1.2, 1.4 fuel every second. Yeah. Both of these players.
It's just good. And Rhahi, I'm seeing spike up to like 1.8. It's just take it. Just take it. Just grab it. It's going to be okay. I get that we're very focused on the fact that maybe a majority buyout is going to ruin the whole thing. But you can't let that kind of thing distract you. Rhahi looks like she's headed for an off-world market with how she's got her resources distributed right now. Meanwhile, DT, that seems to be the only thing he hasn't considered, although Thinking Machine's going to be picked up in about 40 seconds. Maybe that'll encourage him to make that transition.
Of course, my game with Rhahi, I thought, I'll have everything except the Offworld, and then suddenly Rhahi had 2 Offworlds, and it's like, oh,
that's gonna murder me, as it turns out. Yeah, not really a pleasant thing.
Offworld down. And,
that's a good call, I'd say, if you're gonna commit to the Thinking Machines, especially. How are we looking for off-world prices now that we're looking?
Chemicals.
Chems are actually super strong. Yeah, That's pretty ridiculous. So chems are one of those things that pops up occasionally. It's not as likely to be up there as your basic life supports, but it has a better chance than most things to be expensive, and well, that's going to bear out this game, even with DT having consumed so many of them. It's still an extremely profitable market.
Electronics short, despite Rhahi being quite into the electronics, is interesting.
That feels misguided to me. I'm actually kind of completely confident calling that a mistake.
They're both shift selling this down, so
Yeah, that's just a waste of a tile at this point and a waste of money. If it was going to short anything right now and try and interfere with Rhahi, because it feels like you pick electronics in part because if you make that more expensive, then your opponent might have a little bit of a harder time getting into an Offworld. But if you're going to go that route, then why not just short the glass? Because they're not making that at all.
Rhahi actually has the electronics upgraded, so she's making
she's making more money. Exactly. It's that optimization center. We'll have to see how much that plays into things this game. The fact that she does have the optimization center. DT obviously also has one, but he has not been making good use of it from what I've seen. I think he's had it up for a very long time. But he only has one optimization finished at this point. Meanwhile, Rhahi has 7 optimizations done and is trying to get a little bit more carbon optimized. That high carbon price getting in the way of her potentially getting down a second Offworld, as it would cost about 170,000 right now.
Seem to be a little bit of expensive pirates for carbon, but you know, hey.
Well, carbon's...
Rhahi wants the second Offworld, I guess, and 100 extra carbon will help that get there.
Yeah, oh man.
There's also mules for 3k if you wanted, 400 carbon as opposed to 100 carbon.
Another mutiny on the optimization center. That's interesting to me because it feels to me like adrenaline boosts are really what you're looking at for most of the rest of this game, especially because that optimization center, I know it doesn't come up a whole lot, but it still gets the benefit from the thinking machines, and it's not going to be a particularly effective mutiny on that location.
Well, as these prices get higher on the chemicals, no one's actually making them by shipping them off-world.
DT, nah, he's got a couple chemical refineries down, and they're actually making really good money.
Oh yeah, oh there they are. Yep,
Yeah, the adrenaline boost on those is being quite useful, and he's already got the efficient chems, so not a whole lot of optimizations for DT, but maybe he just happens to have the right two. Water's also gone a little crazy on us.
Yeah, Rhahi with the giant water buy.
Oh, surplus
Water
coming in
is
though.
negative on the map technically.
Yeah, it looks like Rhahi's going to be stuck on this one Offworld. She's going into a patent lab after superconductor. That's, That feels like...
A lot of patents left.
It's a little bit late for this to me, though. Is nanotech still on the board? It's not. DT took that away, so, That's a really hefty commitment of resources. Pretty much no matter what's being picked up.
There always is this chance late game that your opponent has forgotten about power. And right now, with both these people negative on power... It's possible to pull us off some sort of weird power play here.
I
if
guess.
DT doesn't notice.
But Rhahi, it feels like Rhahi's playing like she has an extra 2 minutes to spare this game, and that's just not the case. I mean, DT's barreling down. He's got 200,000. He's halfway to finishing this off. Needs 200,000 more to clean up the game. Finally, the adrenaline boosts are starting to come down on the Offworlds. We've made a transition into chems, but it feels like it's all just going to be too little too late. DT has the stock price. He's got most of Rhahi's stock purchased up already. His 2 Offworlds have been running for a very long time. And Rhahi, while she has some cash on hand, so much of that is committed into this Offworld market. And there it goes. She hasn't been making these stock buys that she needs to make. And it still feels like she's just running a little too far behind. Well, D-debt for Rhahi too. Triple power production.
Yeah.
For
DT
only
did notice the power
the Geo.
situation. He has gotten down some more power somewhere.
Yeah, he's got an extra geotherm up.
Yep.
So he's running on 3 geotherms at this point. Meanwhile, Rhahi, with some upgraded power with superconductor, I don't think any of these... I'm not crazy, right? None of these buildings are making power. So we switched into a patent lab, picked up superconductor, and then just abandoned the whole thing.
Yeah. The wind turbine
transition
did try to go down there, but it got frozen out.
Yeah.
But the GG is called, and it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. I mean, I'm not really surprised by the result.
Seal short to seal the deal.
Yeah, that'll finish us off here for sure. Once again, maybe if Rhahi had 2 or 3 more minutes, things could have worked out. But DT, even with that extra geotherm coming up. He did a good job securing that. The launch is going to go off. And DT takes game number 1 in our best of 5 series. Nice solid opening from him.
Very nice indeed. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, DT with the whole 4 optimizations versus Rhahi's 14, despite again having that optimization center up for about as long as I think. Well, Rhahi was taken over with the mutinies on the optimizations, right? So maybe that's...
Yeah, she did do some of that at least. Still felt a little... And it was just the one mutiny, though. On the optimization center. So not particularly effective. I genuinely think that DT was just a little bit slow on his optimizations. I saw him building the thing. Maybe some spare EMPs like were incidentally hitting it sometimes. But still, a little bit late on the optimizations, but it wasn't enough to make a difference, quite clearly, as just getting to those off-worlds was pretty key this game.